saying, hey, Citi went down from 55 to $1. It's got to be good for a double or a triple. Obama and his team ain't going to let Citigroup, of all banks, fail.
Well, it's already failed. What are you talking about? You just got through saying it went from 55 to 50 cents or wherever it is now. It has failed, and it is technically bankrupt. Whether they nationalize it and the stock goes to zero or not, I don't know. I have no position in Citibank. I was short Citibank before, but I have no position now. Many of the American major banks, Bernie, are technically in default. They have horrible balance sheets that the government keeps trying to prop up. They've tried for 2 years to prop them up. It is not working, and it is not going to work. Why can't they fail, Bernie? Tell me why Citibank and others cannot fail. Banks have been failing for hundreds of years. Investment banks are always going bankrupt. What's the big deal?
They could. They easily could, fundamentally, except you got an administration who decided that letting banks fail would have this exponential mutant effect that was just completely it's just something that could absolutely not stomach, and hence they sort of have given a blanket guarantee, haven't they, that they're going to save them at no matter what cost. I wonder what that means, save them at what cost, and what they're going to look like after being saved, so to speak.
That's what I keep trying to explain, Bernie. It's not going to work. It didn't happen to work in Japan. This approach has never worked. The way the system is supposed to work, Bernie, is when times get tough, the competent people take over the assets from the incompetent people, and then the system starts over from a new base. You clean out the mistakes of the past. This time what's happening, the government is saying, taking the money away from the competent people, giving it to the incompetent people, and saying, okay, now you can compete with the competent people with their own money. Bernie, I know your mother taught you not to throw money down a rat hole. I know your father said don't throw good money after bad. That's what America's doing here. Instead of letting the good assets emerge and the competent people emerge, they're trying to prop up a rat hole. It's not working, and it's not going to work.
Actually, the lesson my dad told me was always invest in two things that connect you with the real world: your shoes, make sure they're good quality, and your tires for your car. Hang on, Jim. Jim, any yen for the yen? Here's a collapsing economy, a market at 7,000 or something like that, and people think, well, by default, the currency is on a very, very uber-strong trajectory, completely damaging that country.
Well, I own the yen, Bernie. It's not doing me any good these days, as you know, because it's having a consolidation. I own it purely because I expect more carry trade to reverse. I think the Japanese are probably going to give incentives for people to bring their yen back into the country, just as the U.S. did a few years ago. But on the other hand, the fundamentals are bad in Japan. I mean, they've got many problems long term. Maybe I'm wrong owning the yen, but I still own it at the moment, expecting more yen to come home.
Is this your number one Forex play? I mean, if you had to choose one place to take a position with some conviction, this would be it?
Well, that's a very difficult question. That's the only one I'm playing at the moment. That's the only thing I'm doing. I plan later this year to get out of my U.S. dollars, the rest of my U.S. dollars. U.S. dollars having an artificial rally, too, but it's a terribly flawed currency. I saw someone on your show before saying there's no place else to go. My goodness, that's not stability. The U.S. is printing money as fast as they can. That has always, throughout history, led to currency problems down the road. So I don't see the U.S. as a safe haven at all. Quite the contrary.
Why does everybody else figure differently than you then? There seems to be some pull factor in the USD right now. I can't figure out what it is either. I know what you're saying, but I can't put my thumb on it.
Well, Bernie, it's a very simple thing. Everybody in the world was short the U.S. dollar. For 7 years, you had gigantic short positions build up. Now everybody's being forced to liquidate their positions of everything. You're losing credit lines. You're getting margin calls. You're getting redemptions. So you're having a huge, huge, huge forced liquidation in the U.S. dollar, which means you have to cover your shorts. Now, when you have to cover your shorts, you have to. That's why the dollar is going up. I don't see it. You say as everybody else sees it the other way. Well, they're jumping on the bandwagon. When something's going up, you know this. You've been in financial journalism for decades. People say when something's going up, it must be good. Let's buy more of it. That's not the way the real world works, though.
A limited number of decades. You like precious metals? You like precious metals? I got a newsletter from GATA, G-A-T-A. You know that group, which says the governments are artificially manipulating the price of gold. down. I mean, it's a sweet spot in some ways, isn't it? I mean, here you have people losing complete faith in their currencies, their financial systems. They don't trust their leaders anymore. Why not hold on to the one thing that transcends the political divide, whether it be yellow gold or white gold or platinum, palladium, what have you?
Well, Bernie, I own some gold. Yes, I own some gold. But there are other things that transcend, too.
Carries it with him, too.
You never know. You never know when you might need something. Here I am at the Bloomberg studio, for goodness sakes. No, Bernie, there are lots of things that are going to transcend. Wheat, I promise you, if the world gets bad enough, wheat and rice and sugar are going to be in huge demand as well. I do own some gold. I think I'll make more in silver just because it's cheaper on a historic basis, but I own them both. One situation with gold, Bernie, is that the IMF is desperate to sell its gold. Now, if they sell their gold, and they're the second or third largest holder in the world, that's going to drive down the price, most likely. That would be a huge buying opportunity, if you ask me, because then there's no big seller left once the IMF gets out. So you should buy all you can if that happens.
Okay.
I don't think that China can save the world. It's not big enough. China may be able to save themselves, though. I'm very optimistic about some parts of the Chinese economy, Bernie. Other parts, anybody who deals with Walmart, say, or American retailers, is going to suffer, whether they're in China or wherever they happen to be. But some parts of the Chinese economy are going to do well. The last stock market I bought was China in October and November. I bought no shares anywhere else since then, and in fact, I didn't buy any shares anywhere in 2008 because I am more optimistic on China than other places. It's not big enough to save the world, though. One of the areas in China that I'm wildly optimistic about is agriculture. Mao Zedong ruined Chinese agriculture. The Chinese government is now spending billions to try to revive Chinese agriculture. So I own those shares. I own water treatment companies in China because China has a horrible water problem, which they're spending billions on. But anybody who deals with Walmart, Bernie, is not going to do well, no matter where they are.
Yep. One question for you. We've got a writer, one of the viewers this morning who writes in, Harinder, with a question. Let me put it to you first, Jim. Since China's going to be spending a lot on stimulus and new policies to promote the property sector, have you changed your view? Are you more positive about real estate as a destination in the PRC, Jim?
I'm not putting money into real estate in China because there was an over-speculation, partly because of the blocked currency, but infrastructure or some of the other areas of the Chinese economy which are going to benefit are fine. I just don't see any reason for me to jump into property. Sure, if you know what you're doing and you're on the ground, you may make a fortune, but I'd rather if you want to buy property, buy farms, buy agriculture, buy mining, buy property in mining areas.
Jim, we've talked the yen, we've talked commodities, we've talked precious stuff, we've talked soft stuff, we've talked China with our guest Yang Liu a little bit earlier. Where are we headed? The weeks go by and it's getting kind of old. You know, we hear more and more of the same and people are hoping for clarity. All we know is that jobs are evaporating, companies are going bankrupt, people are feeling poor. I don't know about Singapore, but I'm seeing more shops boarded up than ever before. It's actually a very, very disturbing, surreal sight.
Well, you see the same thing here in Singapore. You see the same thing all over the world. And, Bernie, I want to repeat, it's going to get worse. People need to prepare for that. You know, everybody in America and in many places say, don't worry, everything is going to be okay in the second half. No, it's not. That's breeding a terrible false optimism. Things are not going to be better in the second half. Things are probably going to be worse. By then, we will have currency crises around the world. We'll have more bankruptcies. We'll start going to see more civil unrest in countries around the world. People have got to prepare for reality or they're going to get hit even worse.
And give me some top. I'm getting quite a bit of feedback from our audience out there in our last minute or two. If you had to choose it, and you know, I know the world is not so simple as to, you know, 3 buys and 3 sells and you're set for life. But you know, we have to clarify, codify for the people. You've already talked about agricultural commodities. You talked about gold to a certain extent and China. Would that be rat-a-tat 1, 2, 3 on the optimistic side?
I think agriculture is certainly the best place to be in the next decade or two. Maybe silver is better than gold, as I said before. the Asian economies are going to suffer less, but they're going to suffer. If you're going to be in the Asian economies or any economy, you've got to be in the sectors that are not going to suffer, such as water treatment, to repeat that one, or infrastructure, or people who build power generation in Asia. Those companies are going to do well no matter what happens to the world.
And everything else can pretty much go to hell. Short everything else in sight as fast as you can.
You know, Wall Street and the City of London are going to be very, very bad. Bernie, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, Wall Street was a wasteland. Only the idiot sons went there. I went there. I know.
It's a
It was
wasteland
terrible. I
again.
was the idiot son.
It's a wasteland
It's
again
going to be
now.
much. It's going to be worse, Bernie. I'm telling you, it's going to be much worse. You should change and become an agricultural TV show.
Okay, well, I did a minor in farming at University of Idaho, so dirt beneath the fingernails, back to the fruits of the earth. Jim, as always, a great pleasure. Hats off to you. Thank you so much for sparing so much of your precious time to be with us today. Jim Rogers, the man. He doesn't need any introduction or outro.
More Bloomberg News reports on the Bloomberg Terminal at AV Go, on Bloomberg Television, and on Bloomberg Radio. Copyright Bloomberg LP.